Hello everyone and welcome again, in one of our new lessons. We continue today with our course of punctuation and we'll try to tackle, another important punctuation mark. Let me assume it's the most important mark comparing to all the other marks, in English, which is the comma. Now, as you know, the comma is the widely used mark, alright? And many factors, make it, the top mark comparing to all the other, marks. Its frequent use, alright. Its multiple cases, with the English sentence, right? And its important role also in ordering, our ideas within the English sentence. So today we'll try to cover, the rules which govern the use of the comma, right? And we'll see how we should place it correctly within the English sentence, because we have a common rule about the comma which says, when there is a rule, we put a comma, otherwise we don't put any comma. So let's try to highlight, the different rules, about how to use this essential mark. We'll start first by the different cases, we already saw in our previous lessons, especially in the lesson of types of sentences. Right, types of sentences. So, number one, if you remember, when we studied, the second type of sentences, which is the compound sentence, we said that, the compound sentence is what? Is two or more independent clauses joined, either by semicolon or conjunctive adverbs or conjunctions of coordination. And we said that if you join two or more independent clauses with a conjunction of coordination or fanboys, you must always put a comma before them. So the first use, is what? You write here, we put a comma before, right, conjunctions of coordination. I need here fanboys, of course, and, but, or, and so on. When they join two or even more, independent or main clauses. Example, we find this case mainly with the compound sentence and also the compound complex sentence. Clear? He is ill, so he won't come. Here I have this, conjunction of coordination, which joins the two independent clauses. It's always, preceded by a comma. Good. Also, we have second case, which concerns the same types of sentences, but this time with what we call conjunctive adverbs. These also, they join two independent clauses, but in this case, we put the comma after them. So, right here, after conjunctive adverbs, clear, when they join, always, okay, independent clauses. For example, we write he is ill, right? So here is my conjunctive adverb. Consequently, or as a consequence, as a result, however, for contrast, in addition, for addition, clear, nonetheless, moreover, furthermore, and so on, clear. So here we put before them semicolon, and after them our mark, which is the comma. The comma is always placed after the conjunctive adverb when they join, okay, independent clauses. Independent clauses. Alright. He is ill, consequently, he won't come. He won't come. He won't come. Also, we have seen in our lesson, or previous lesson, another two cases which concern also, okay, the other types of sentences, mainly the complex one. We said that, okay, we can form a complex sentence by joining only one independent clause to one or more dependent clauses which start either with a conjunction of subordination, relative or relative pronoun or adverb, or the markers of the noun clause. Now, in case, okay, we have a sentence which starts with what? A clause which starts also with a conjunction of subordination, or simply we say, whenever we start a sentence with an adverbial clause, clear, whenever we start a sentence with an adverbial clause, it's the clause which starts with a conjunction of subordination. We must always separate this clause, okay, and put after it a comma, right, to separate it from the rest of the sentence. Clear? So we write here, we use the comma to separate or set off an adverbial, and it's always dependent, of course, dependent, right, we write it, but dependent clause which starts with a conjunction of subordination, like the conjunctions of subordination of cause, because, as, since, result, so, that, such, that, clear, contrast, although, the condition, if, and so on, unless for time, for a condition also, before, after, and so on. Clear? So of subordination, which starts with, so we write here, instead of an adverbial, I mean dependent clause which starts with conjunction of subordination, when it comes at the beginning of a sentence. Example, simply, if you work hard, you will succeed. Or when, clear, and so on. So here I have this first clause, okay, which starts with a conjunction of subordination of condition if, or with because, or with as, or with under, and so on. So here it is an adverbial clause. When it comes at the beginning, right, of a sentence, I must always separate it, okay, from the other sentence, rest of the sentence, by a comma, like this, clear, like this. But in case this, for example, clause comes after in the second position, inside we don't put any comma before if. We have seen this before already. Clear. So always, whenever we start sentence with an adverbial clause that starts with a conjunction of subordination, I must always set it off by a comma. By a comma. Good. Also, we have another case which concerns always the dependent clauses, and this time we'll deal with the adjective clause. We said the adjective clause is what? Is a relative clause which starts with relative pronoun who, which, that, and whose, or adverb like when and where. Alright. And we have two types. We have restrictive and non-restrictive. We said if this relative clause gives essential information, it is restrictive, it is important. But in case it gives only extra information, here it is non-restrictive. And we must set it off with a comma or commas. Clear? We must separate always, the non-restrictive and adjective and relative clause with a comma or commas. Clear? So we write here, to set off, set of non-restrictive or non-defining, clear, clause or clauses in a sentence. In a sentence. Example. For example, I read Hamlet which is a famous play. A famous play. So here, I read Hamlet is my independent clause, which is a famous play. Here is my second clause, which starts with relative pronoun. Okay. And as it gives only extra information about the noun it refers to, here I must put a comma after it. Sorry, comma before it. It means I must always separate, this non-restrictive clause with a comma. If it's at the end, you put a comma before the relative pronoun. If it's in the middle, for example like this, for example, Ali, whose hair is fair, is my name. Is My neighbor is my neighbor. Here also I have another what? Adjective and non-restrictive clause which gives me extra information about Ali, about only his hair, something extra. Clear? And doesn't restrict the noun it refers to. Whose hair is fair? Here it is non-restrictive clause, so I must separate it with two commas as it is placed in the middle of a sentence. Clear? Of a sentence. Alright, so these are the first four cases, okay, or rules which govern the use of the comma. We have already seen them in our previous lessons. There are still, okay, many other cases which are going to be highlighted in this lesson. Just follow, please. Another important and also commonly used case of the comma concerns what we call introductory words or phrases. It means whenever we start a sentence, sometimes we use certain words, okay, or phrases to introduce, okay, this sentence. For example, like firstly, in addition, also, next, moreover, and this, okay, kind of sequences. Always we should set off or separate these elements and put after them a comma. Clear? So we write number 4, the fourth rule or case of the use of the comma. When, okay, to set off, okay, introductory words or phrases, like first at the beginning, okay, of sentences. Firstly, also these four words. Also we have in fact for phrases. Clear? Last but not least, in conclusion. On the other hand, all these, when they come at the beginning of a sentence, they should be followed by a comma. Okay, good. We have also another important case when we should use the commas, not the comma here. Alright. It concerns what we call listing. When we list. Right. It means when we mention, okay, 3 or more elements in succession. Right? Or items in succession. One after the other, we have to set off these elements or these items, okay, using commas. Using commas. Now these items can be words, nouns, verbs, and so on. Clear? Or phrases, or even clauses. Let's see some examples now. So, to set off 3 or more items or elements when listing. We said here 3 because in case we have only 2, there is no need to use any command. For example, I met Ahmed and Ali. Here, no command is used. Clear. But I met Ahmed, Ali, right, and Rashid. Here, when we list, we use, okay, the command. So, one listing, set off 3 or more items. One listing, whether, okay, they are words, example, example, I write she likes green, yellow, right, blue, and white colors. White colors. Clear? And white colors. Or phrases. Example. For instance, I study in all places without any problem. At home, in the classroom, and for example, okay, in the yard, and in the yard, in the yard, behind the house. Here also, I have listed, okay, 3 phrases: at home, in the classroom, and in the yard. And I put a comma, okay, and this comma is called also the listing comma, the listing comma. Right. Also, I have the case of clauses, or clauses. Example, I am reading. Clause must contain, as you know, subject and verb. He is exercising. Yes. And she is cooking. She is cooking. So here is, okay, also with this list of clauses, I use my comma to separate, okay, my clauses. Okay, my clauses. Now, as you see here, when I list 3 or more items, okay, I put the comma always, okay, between these items, but when I reach and or there or here, okay, I don't use any comma. This is, of course, according to the British, okay, norms of punctuation, because the British always, okay, or usually they don't put any comma before and. Alright, unlike the Americans, which always put a comma here. Clear? So in case you find a comma before and, it's not wrong. It's only, okay, the American, okay, variation of, can I say, punctuation. Okay, but as we are still beginners, okay, and novice, as I always say, you must always stick to the basic rules of punctuation according to the British norms. British norms, and the British usually, okay, don't put a comma before and or when listing. When listing. Right. Good. Also, I have another important case for the use of the comma, number 6 this time. Number 6, which concerns also what we call parenthetical expressions. Parenthetical expressions. Now these are expressions, okay, which interrupt, okay, or come in the middle of a sentence, as if they are placed between parentheses. So instead of putting them, right, between parentheses, we put them between 2 commas. 2 commas. For example, we have, on the other hand, for example, for instance, in addition, right, and so on. So we write here. It's also used to set off. Right. Parenthetical expressions. Like what? In addition. For example, for instance, also we have, on the other hand, right, and many other examples, okay, of these parenthetical expressions. Alright, so here, these, you may, for example, notice that some of them, okay, are used as conjunctive adverbs, like in addition here. But these, when they come, listen, in the middle of a sentence, to join a clause, right, with, example, a phrase, with a word, and so on, we put them here between two commas. Example, I write, he is poor and homeless. Clear? And homeless. In addition, example, I write now hungry. So here, in this case, I put, okay, as if here, okay, we have an expression that should be placed, okay, between two parentheses. So here I use two commas to show this expression in addition is what? Is only a parenthetical expression. Clear? Something which is inserted, okay, surprisingly, okay, by the speaker or the writer. Clear? To interrupt the flow of the sentence. Clear? Of the sentence. And as here we have a clause joining not to a clause but to what? To a word or a phrase. Clear? Or a phrase. Word or a phrase. Good. Also we have the case number 7, which concerns mild or weak, okay, less emphatic interjections, like oh, example, like wow, here, alright, and so on. So sometimes writers use after them commas. Why? To show that here, okay, the expression of feelings or emotions is not strong. Because in case it's strong, they put an exclamation mark. Right. But with the comma after them, here it's we could call it mild, okay, interjection or less emphatic. Means weak expression of feelings or emotions. Clear? Good. Now, we move on to our case number 8. The case number 8, okay, concerns direct speech. Right. As you know that any direct speech consists of two main parts. We have what we call the reporting verb and the reported clause. So we separate these two elements using by using a comma. A comma. So we write here, number 8, to set off the reporting verb from the quoted clause, for example, clause, or even phrase expression, clear to the expression, to set off a reporting verb from the quoted clause, or expression in direct speech. Here we have two cases. When you start with the reporting verb, I write he said, clear. For example, here you can put either colon or comma. He said, example, okay, clear, okay. Or, in case you start with the quoted, okay, clause or expression, okay, you also should put a comma before you close the quotation marks, then you add your reporting verb. Okay, reporting verb. I write, I am tired. Tired. Here, I put a comma. I close my quote. Then I write, he said. He said. He said. So here we have this, okay, rule or case in which we should set off, okay, the reporting verb from the quoted clause expression using our comma. Alright, go. Also, another case which concerns addresses or parts of an address. Okay, parts of an address to set of parts of an address. Example, I live in, I don't know, 44 road, comma, Wessex Street, example, another comma, I don't know, Harold Avenue, comma, BISKRA, or London, clear, London, not London here, London, London, London. Here we have the road, here the street, and here the city. We separate these items or parts of an address, okay, using commas, Also the same case, okay, with parts of geographical areas, especially, okay, for example, village and city, it belongs to, city and country, okay, it belongs to, right. Number 8, or sorry, 10, to set of, also parts of geographical areas. Example, I have visited Delhi, India, right? Or he visited example, city of Delhi in India. Example here, I have separated the city from the country it belongs to. Here it belongs to. Right. For example, Los Angeles, right, Miami. And so on and so forth. And so on and so forth. Another important case also which concerns letters. Okay, letters. Here it's number 11. Right. We have in letters what we call salutations at the beginning. Okay. And at the end, at the bottom, we have closings. Closings. Right. So, the British or the English always put at the end of both salutations and closings a comma. So here there is the task for us. Clear? So, after what? Salutations. Clear? Right? Example, dear sir. In both types of letters, dear sir or dear Ali, for instance. Dear Ali. Right, always we put a comma after any letter salutation. And also after salutations and closings. Example, best wishes for informal letters and yours. For example, faithfully in business or formal letters. In both cases, we put after them always a comma. Okay, this is for the British norms of punctuation. Clear? Punctuation. Now, just to refer to this notion only as a remark, the Americans differentiate between formal letters and informal letters when it comes to salutations. If the letter is a friendly letter, dear Ali, dear Ahmed, and so on, they're my best friend, and so on, okay, they put a comma. But in case, okay, the letter is business letter, okay, official or formal letter, the Americans put a colon, okay, a colon after the salutation. But for the closings, they also agree with the British in putting the comma, okay, in all types of closings. Right. But the British, as you see, okay, here they maintain a simple way of punctuation. They always put a comma after both salutations as well as closings of any type of any letter. Clear? Of any letter. Good. Also, we have the case of what we call number 12, appositives. To set off appositives. Appositives. What are these appositives? Now these are phrases, okay, which come in a sentence, usually in the middle of a sentence, to identify, okay, another noun before them. Clear? They are phrases which identify, okay, another noun before them. For example, we write Obama or George Washington, the ex-American president. Alright. For example, died in 1991, example, or 1873. Clear? Example, we write here. Example. George Washington the ex-presidents or American presidents. Let's write here, it's better. Example, right here. Or Abraham Lincoln, simply an example. Abraham Lincoln, for instance. An ex-American president died in the 80s. Clear, in the 1880s. Right, so here Abraham Lincoln is a noun, and here I have this phrase, an ex-American president, which comes to identify, okay, this noun before it, right? It's only, as you see here, a noun phrase. So this noun phrase is called an appositive, because it comes to identify, okay, a noun before it. Clear? So here, this appositive we place between two commas, as you see here. Clear? Two commas. Right. And this appositive is another type of phrase in English. It's another type of phrases, okay, in addition to the types we saw together. Okay, good. The last case, okay, in this lesson concerns, okay, dates. And here we need to clarify, okay, how to use the comma with dates. We have two ways of writing the date in English. We have the American way and the British way. Clear? Now the Americans, US. Right. They start with what? They start with the month, the day, and the year. For example, they write June the 13th. Right. Example 2017. And the Americans always what? When they write in this way, they set off the year by a comma. Right. By a comma. So the year in the American way of writing the date is always set off by a comma. Right. When the date is mentioned. But for example, in case we write only he died in June 2017, here the Americans don't put any comma. So in case all the elements of date are mentioned, we always separate the date right with a comma for the Americans. But for the British, in fact, it's easier because they have chronological order of the elements of the date, and therefore they use no comma, in the date. They start with the day, 13th of June, right, 2017. And we, of course, in our lesson, we adopt, okay, the British rule and way of writing the date. So whenever you write a date like this, you mustn't put any comma. Alright. But in case you find, okay, this way of writing with a comma to separate the date, it's only, okay, an American version, okay, of the date. It's not a mistake, not wrong. Clear? But for us, this is, okay, what we should adopt and use in our writing from now on. Clear? From now on, because we have always to stick to the basic rules, okay, of punctuation, which are set mainly and primarily by the British. Clear? Where the language originally, okay, originated. Right, originated. Good. Now, like this, we have finished or nearly covered, okay, almost all the rules and the cases in which we use the comma. Okay, I repeat, the comma is the most important punctuation mark, but we should always pay to it, okay, most of our attention, right, with regard to all the elements we saw in this lesson, right, and you must never ignore its value and importance. We'll try to accompany our lesson with, okay, further practice, okay, and maybe remarks, okay, to intensify and reinforce our understanding. Thanks so much, and see you in another lesson and another video. Good luck.